Hello everyone and welcome. In this recording I'm going to be speaking about this upcoming new moon that we have in the sign of Cancer on the 17th July 2023, and it takes place around 24 degrees and 56 minutes of the sign of Cancer. Now this is a really intense lunation because it does hold certain really powerful celestial conversations that does suggest that it is going to be a period which starts a powerful transformation in our lives, but at the same time that transformation can be also initiated by us after looking at the bigger and even smaller truths, facts, and undeniable elements in our lives which does need to be taken into consideration. Now, one of these aspects is extremely harmonious, and this is where the conjunction of the sun and moon, the new moon, of course, is holding a trine, a conversation of harmony with Neptune from fellow water sign Pisces. Now, this energy does represent the past because Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, the sign of finalities. This is where things, are integrated permanently, definitely, or also this is all the part of the sky where certain things do move into ether, so they're even integrated beyond the human level. But of course, in a very down-to-earth way, Pisces can represent the distant past, either our heritage from, ancestrally, from relatives, from descendants, or it can represent our own history, our own past. Now, the sign of Cancer has also a lot to do with the past. It has to do with our emotional integration, how it is that we navigated through, emotionally speaking, especially through life based on the experiences, stimuli, and the myriad of events that influenced us. But it also represents, our relations with our family, our local community, the nation, etc., which we belong to, and how those kind of the relationship of our relationship with them formed our past. So this trine with Neptune does suggest that an old, because Neptune is retrograde, remember, so an old dream or something, a desire, an aspiration, an inspiration perhaps, an ideal is felt that much more strongly at this time by us, and this ideal might have been something that might have, of course, symbolically speaking, haunted us through various stages in our lives, and once again it returns as a feeling, as a dream, as an impulse, as the calling of the spirit perhaps to accomplish something, because we must not forget Cancer is this also a cardinal sign. It has a lot to do with initiation, with action, with going out there and doing something, especially based on its nurturing, its healing, its solidary qualities. And we're trying with Neptune, the planet of solidarity, the planet of compassion, the planet of the divine source. This is that much likely to become exactly that: solidarity, help, unity, or any kind of blessing coming from the past, from family, from support, from community, people who you have in your life, especially karmic connections. These can form a much stronger alliance, and with this energy, with this power, either you initiate something, someone else initiates something and you become part of it, or this might be a strong impulse to take a risk, to take a leap of faith, to aim and go and navigate towards something new, something that you might really, really need in your life, desire in your life. But of course, it is not a very easy energy, and this is because the sun, both the sun and the moon, this conjunction opposes Pluto. Pluto being at 29 degrees in the sign of Capricorn, retrograde of course, and that in itself is a very, very strong energy, because that is the anaretic degree. That is when Pluto's destructive, shadowy, and truth revealing nature is especially highlighted. but this truth revealing, I do sense that it is much more part of the collective expression of this energy, which I'm going to be speaking about in just a few moments. But another very important aspect that this new moon holds is a sextile, also another harmonious aspect with Uranus. Now, Uranus is in the sign of Taurus, so it has a lot to do with values, with our five senses, and how it is that we embody our principles, our everything that we find valuable, everything that we love, everything that we stand for, everything is that is an integrate part of our earthly existence, Taurus, right? So this sextile may mean surprises. It means the possibility of a breakthrough. It does mean that anything, any action, any attitude, any emotional perspective that we adapt, where we truly see things, look at things, act from a place of deep, deep authenticity, knowing our truth, knowing and feeling without a doubt our values, what we stand for, and what it is that we definitely do not stand for and even find unacceptable. Because Uranus, after all, is the planet of rebellion, uprising. It is highly volatile in certain situations. And especially this is emotional volatility, because based on that core value, that core truth that you have been working on, grinding on, refining, discovering, trying the very best to express your authenticity ever since this Uranus is transiting the sign of Taurus in a more serious way, so 2018 onwards. That is an energy that all of us have been working on, that it has been present quite a lot in our lives. And not so long ago, in 2021 especially, it was a massive challenge when Uranus squared Saturn in Aquarius. That was where we had no choice, where life, one way or another, through inner forces or outer forces, it really, really pushed us down and forced us to witness, to observe, to acknowledge our core level values, our core level truth, in a sense, what we truly love and what it is that simply does not appeal to us. It was a very strong disillusioning energy. But when I say disillusioning, not necessarily the Neptunian kind, because it wasn't necessarily our biggest ideals and our faith and our spirituality that disillusioned us, but more like the modus operandi. How those have to look like, feel like, be like, embodied in matter. Now that was the disillusioning part, where we were kind of guided and also in a way forced a little bit to update our modus operandi, to update our sense of awareness. May that be something inner, our true self-worth. And again, I'm so sorry to repeat myself, what we truly love within our hearts of hearts. And that is not just something deeply philosophical, that is to the most Taurus, the most practical things imaginable, brands, foods, how we wish to embody, live, experience certain events. For example, a holiday relationship with other people, anything that has to do with sensuality, clothes, fashion. So anything that is susceptible to this Venusian power, Taurus. So we are much, much, much wiser than we have ever been before in this sense. So this is why the sextile the new moon holds with Uranus truly challenges us. I know it's a sextile and it should be harmonious, but the sextile is not a free energy that just pops from the sky. It does need some investment of effort, power, energy, intention at least. So this is exactly the investment, to take into consideration that authenticity, that all those truths which are unique to us and that we have been discovering, integrating, and updating in a way in the past couple of years. It will be very, very important. And also in a more practical way, how this Cancer new moon may play out. expressing your skills, expressing your talent, expressing your individual beauty, expressing your truth, expressing everything that you can do and the value you can add to other people's lives, to anything really. Doing all of that can lead you quite a long way, because this is the seed of intention that is being planted. And Cancer, again, emotional support, the help of local community, popularity you might gain from there, or a leap of faith, a more, let's say, risky move, may it be emotionally, to leave a relationship. Because why do I say this? A position with Pluto. So a choice, a decision, a compromise you have to take, and it's not very easy because it will change power dynamics in your life deeply, and that can be also a company, that can be a contract, that can be simply Cancer, family setup, your physical home, relocating. So this energy can mean and translate to a lot of different things, or going solo. You've been part of a group, maybe a soul tribe, maybe, and you're no longer resonant with it and you go solo. So this energy can translate to a lot of things where it's based on initiative and a small risk perhaps, but this is where the risk will depend on this level of authenticity, level of awareness, level of deep self knowledge, and of course the compromise. Because self knowledge is one thing, but being in tune with outer reality and what outer reality is permissive of, that will be also very, very important. Because an aspect that doesn't speak with the new moon, sorry, and but it is, a very relevant energy at that time, is Mercury in the sign of Leo by that time, squaring Jupiter in Taurus. That is promises. um, when I say promises, promises to yourself is totally included. Promises that spirit gives us, or our inner forces, our unconscious. So this energy is very, very much about what it is that we believe to be imminently part of our future. It is really based on belief because someone else says something, external force, an authority, an institution, a group, a person, a contract, anything really promises us something and makes us think that certain things are going to play out in a certain way. Or it can be where, reality kind of logically, Mercury, logically, rationally, kind of wants to show us that chances are that things will play out in a certain way. Now, there is nothing wrong with the promises, just that we need to take them with a pinch of salt. Because how they enact, how they manifest, which course they follow to completion, now that may be the difficult part. Because this Jupiter can raise expectations sky high. You might be expecting a full-blown miracle, where it can truly disappoint, because as I said, it may be much harder than you can imagine. The promise factor might be there because the end result can be what you expect, but it might be very, very soliciting energy wise, work wise, nerves in that sense, Mercury wise, emotion wise, inner fire wise, Leo, Venus in the sign of Leo. Or it might not necessarily match your exact expectations, because Venus is in shadow and Venus is slightly aneretic in the sign of Leo. Also conjunct Regulus. Venus conjuncting Regulus brings on the big, unrealistic, kind of vain expectations. So this is the danger. So take everything with a pinch of salt. As in, for example, if you have a promise, it's not very wise to discard it totally. as in that will not do anything good, especially when this energy can play out that some people do have an element of deep mistrust in them. So any promise that someone makes them in any way, shape and form, it will be like, nah, I'm not believing that, I'm not even taking that into consideration, no thank you, I had enough of promises in my lifetime. Now this might be also a very incorrect, so to speak, attitude to take, because as I said, there might be something, maybe a person or something that comes with, you know, a promise, a solution, an offer, a communication in that sense. It might be, really genuine. And all you need to do is see what it is and then integrate it as best as you can. But neither believing in the miracle, in the easiness, in the exact specific way that it is promised to you, this isn't a good idea either. Now, another thing which is a bit confusing, which is a bit, like smoke and mirrors and tricks of faith, spirit, belief, especially collectively out there, is that also at the time of this new moon, we have two quincunxes pointing to Venus. Pluto and Neptune both hold and in conjunction with, Venus in the sign of Leo. Venus being at 28 degrees of this sign and in shadow at this moment, because on the 23rd, 24th, Venus is going retrograde. So she is also very, very slow at this time. What is the deeper truth, desire, ambition, the big, big fire in our hearts of hearts, the quincunx? Fate is definitely taking us somewhere, and how it is that we can integrate where fate takes us into accomplishing that desire. Sometimes it's the total opposite. Fate takes us somewhere and we might think, well, how exactly is this helping me to accomplish my desire, to accomplish everything that basically this Venus retrograde is determining me to, have in my life? And this can very well be with new relationship, with new love, new romance, sensual activities. There is that chance, but some fate maybe points to a different direction where maybe later, time for romance later, now it's other things and more important in this in life, in our physical reality. This is where a quincunx, especially a yacht formation, we need to take everything with a pinch of salt, because chances are it is us personally, based on soul searching, life experience, and knowing the truth within our hearts, that has to give the deeper meaning to the quincunx. What fate is showing us can only be found by going within and seeing things through the lens of the heart, the lens of love, true self-worth basically. What it is that you truly desire and need in your life based on true love, true self-love. Because this Venus, quincunx Neptune, might show us what not true self-love means. It can work temporarily, it can be, adventurous, it can be, really like a positive shock to the heart, but it can all be very ephemeral. It can be you have it one moment and the other is gone. So this is the quincunx. We need to see through the lens of the heart what fate is really, really trying to tell us. Because sometimes with this quincunx it might tell us that certain surprising factors in life, which give us a moment of adrenaline, which give us a moment which make us feel more alive than ever, those are just certain delights in life which come and go, but they do come all the time, so we don't really have to approach it with the fear of missing out. And when it is moment in life to truly immerse into what is more important, then that is the choice that we have to take. Allow life's small surprises and how fate tries to work on its own accord to do its own job. But when we are solicited to immerse into something that is very, very important to us, then we do have to give our energy to exactly that, building our long-term future. Because small surprises in life come and go. We are bound to miss out certain ones, but they will always, always come back in life. And this is also Pluto, a quincunxing Neptune. What do we allow to have power over us? Illusions, fata morgana, past, very short term, passing pleasures, passing surprises, passing delights, which are absolutely an essential and necessary part of life. But there might be moments when we really, really need to take our power into our hands, and we cannot allow anything to distract us from our soul level goals. So this is also very, very important at this time. But looking at just the Pluto opposition, especially collectively speaking, now we first of all, let's take a look at the Sabian symbol of this 24 degrees of Cancer. And I do believe the Sabian symbol is so relevant because it says leader of people wrapped in an invisible cloak of power. Even the Sabian symbol speaks about power. Opposing the new moon is Pluto, the planet of power, in the last degrees of Capricorn. What does this mean? Political influence, political decision, political power. Something that leaders or external authorities are dishing out, choosing, deciding. And new moon, people, how people feel. We must not forget that the moon rules the sign of Cancer, so she is very, very powerful there. When something takes place in the sign of Cancer and the moon is involved, that is where people, the human collective, is that much more likely to feel it in a very, very deep way. New moon also, whatever feeling is stirred up, that feeling will stay with us at least for the next 6 months, because the new moon is a creational energy. Our feelings are definitely going to be stirred up, and our internal authority, again the Sabian symbol, the invisible cloak of power. In truth, no leader can have any power without the people giving it to that leader. And the invisible cloak is exactly that, the power that we give or take. So, the opposition with Pluto, people might not agree where political decisions, political, aspirations, etc., laws. And when I say laws, Jupiter squaring Mercury, that's so symbolic. Jupiter, planet of law. Taurus, in Taurus, taking care of money, finances, down to earth things, but the basic necessities. Squaring Mercury, how we feel about it. Again, the feeling in the heart. And Venus, Black Moon Lilith, is trining planetoid Eris. So this is rebellion, this is uprising, this is disagreeing, and people expressing this disagreement through protests, through strikes, through legal action, through anything that is necessary. Also, Uranus sextiling the new moon, it does favor rebellion, uprising, where expressing your sovereignty basically. But when I say sovereignty of the people, because moon in Cancer, the feeling of people, that can go represent changes, immediate changes. And Pluto opposing the new moon, that is also transformation changes. But the changes are on both ends. Both the world of politics, leaders, institutions, centralized power, and both people. Now, of course, this energy also means, certain things of the past being dug up once again. Conflicts between nations, religious tensions, political tensions, but not necessarily within a country, but within different ethnicities, different groups of people, different, karmic adversaries, but collectively speaking, of course. So this will play out on the world stage. This can also very well mean inner conflicts in certain nations, certain countries. So this can also be a very, very volatile energy. But what really, really gives me hope is that the trine with Neptune, still there is blessing there, still there is, you know, resolution there, sometimes truth and certain clashes. And when I say clashes, of course, I don't want to mean physically speaking, but in courts of justice, in, official legal manners, where certain political decisions are challenged in a very peaceful but stark manner. In, as I said again, courts of justice or non-profit organizations making a stand. All of that, is likely to take place, and it does represent a clash of two wills, of two ideals. And Pluto going back into Aquarius next year, January next year, that is very, very supportive of this energy. But going back to Neptune, within the glaciers, harmony, peace, acceptance, forgiveness, and alliance, solidarity can be born. Because this energy can also represent people putting aside all of their differences and uniting for one common principle, for one common goal. So this is also, a very beautiful way as this can play out. And personally speaking, family, or people connected to you who regard as family, putting away differences, putting away problems of the past, hurts, conflicts, anything that might have, faulted the relationship for a common purpose. Families joining forces. Cancer is also very, very defensive and protective energy. And also the opposition with Pluto. This just prepares that the next day, on the 18th of July, 18th of July, the nodes of the moon retrograde into Aries and Libra axis. So that is a very, very huge energy shift. One of the main energy shifts of this year. And this is gonna stay with us all of 2025. But as the nodes of the moon shift into North Node into Aries, South Node into Libra, immediately they will hold a T-square at Pluto. So the new moon just marks the tension, marks the T-square, marks the difficulty of this moment. It is all about power. What prevents us from having harmony, from having peace, from having solidarity in our lives? What prevents us from, feeling the way we deserve to feel within our lives, within our homes, within our, everyday existence? Because this is also Cancer. What makes us feel safe? Where do we belong, and what makes us feel rooted, harmonious, growing? That is very, very important, because chances are this will set us up on this journey to achieve that. I want to say in the next 6 months, but because of the nodal shift, this will stay with us for the next 18 months. So this will be like Mein Kampf symbolically, where the end goal is us having a powerful place in the world, in the community, in our lives, whatever this means, whatever having a place means to us personally, and wherever this new moon falls in your chart personally, that is the area of life where you want to feel at home, where you want to embody power, stability, strength, and emotional equilibrium the most. So this kind of concludes my take on this Cancer new moon. Thank you so much for listening. I do hope that this was helpful. And because this is, as I said, community-based energy, we must not forget to plant a seed of intention, not just for ourselves, but for everyone who we love and who we want to belong to out there. Thank you again. If you'd like to support my channel, you can donate in the PayPal link in the description below. With this being said, thank you so much again. Until next time, bye for now.